Hello, and thank you for joining today's webinar, AI in Action, the Future of Society and the Economy. Please welcome Dr. Randy Bird, Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs at Long Island University.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Long Island University and our partner Dassault Systèmes, we welcome you to today's webinar on the future of AI. We have an exciting program with world experts in several areas that intersect with AI. I'd like to thank our panelists for their time and input in this important topic. In just a few minutes, you'll have a chance to view a video of our two beautiful campuses located in Brookville and Brooklyn, New York, perfectly situated at the heart of business, pharma, and the AI industry. As you'll see today, whether you are an industry partner or a student, LIU has a lot to offer. LIU has one of the oldest and largest pharmacy schools in the country. We have a new veterinary school, one of 4 in the Northeast. There's just over 30 in the country. We have well-known programs in the health sciences, life sciences, and health professions. Most recently, we started one of the first undergraduate artificial intelligence program. This BS in artificial intelligence will complement many of our computer science degrees, our masters in AI, data analytics, and also provide opportunities for dual degrees such as an MBA and masters in AI. The AI programs will be powered by a new Digital Health and Engineering Institute and by the Dassault platform, which you'll hear a lot about today from Al Bunshaft. Briefly on our partnership with Dassault. Dassault is a French Fortune 50 company. They are world leaders in digital engineering. In addition to aerospace and automotive engineering, now they're focusing on the life sciences. With that transition, practically everything that is engineered will be done with the Dassault platform, from pharmaceuticals to airplanes. So a major goal of LIU is to incorporate not only AI into all of our programs and research, but to have the Dassault platform incorporated into those programs. So whether your major is computer programming or health sciences or business, you'll be exposed to the Dassault platform. And since this platform is the platform of the future, learning on this platform will be just incredible to provide training for the workforce of the future. So now let's take a brief look at what LIU has to offer in the field of artificial intelligence. And then following that, Al Bunshaft, Senior Vice President of the 3D Experience for Education in North America at Dassault Systèmes, will introduce us to the work that Dassault is doing in the area of AI, and then we'll hear from our panelists. Welcome, and thank you very much.
Artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence in machines and applications. And LIU is proud to announce the launch of our AI programs with immersive educational experiences powered by Dassault Systèmes, the world leader in digital engineering. AI advances are being felt in every aspect of our lives, like Google search and Uber rides. AI has been powering businesses in significant ways. In digital health, diagnosing and treating patients, discovering new drugs and cures, to training surgeons and more. AI is opening new frontiers for solving the most complex challenges that face humanity and enhancing the quality of life worldwide. The AI programs at LIU offer unique and distinctive immersive learning, bringing you closer and realistic simulations using 3D virtual reality. Our program supports your vision of creating AI systems from inception to production. We need your talent and skills for this new economy and fast-growing field. Join us and shape the future of AI.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for joining us today at this webinar. I'm Al Bunshaft. I am an executive at Dassault Systèmes. I grew up on Long Island. I went to East Meadow High School. I then went to the State University of New York and finally to RPI, where I went to graduate school. I had the chance there to work at a NSF University Industry Cooperative Research Center. And it's very exciting for me to see LIU creating a similar environment at the intersection of higher education and industry for students on Long Island and in New York City. I want to share my screen now and show you an introduction to our company. Dassault Systèmes is an engineering and scientific, I'm sorry, let me go back. Dassault Systèmes is an engineering and scientific software company. There we go, sorry. Headquartered just outside of Paris in France. Our American headquarters is in the Boston area. I am based in the New York area. We have over 20,000 passionate employees around the world, over 5,000 of those employees here in the United States. We were founded in 1981. We spun out of a French aviation company, Dassault Aviation, and we set out to make 3D a standard. At the time, engineers were working on drafting tables with pencil and paper. And we had the vision that digital technologies were going to change the industry, and now they have. 40 years later, every commercial aircraft in the world is designed with Dassault Systèmes software. Tesla, as an example, uses our software top to bottom, from their design work all the way through their manufacturing of their vehicles. And we've continued to evolve through the years, now focused, as Dr. Bird said, on the life sciences industry. We believe that what we did over the last decades for the mechanical engineering industries, a similar transformation will happen in the life sciences industries, providing full end-to-end modeling and simulation, accelerating experimentation, product development, and manufacturing. I started working in this field in the 80s, and my technical focus was modeling and visualization. And this fundamental technology is now taken for granted. It's in everything that we do. We were building specialized systems, and now it's in our PCs. It's in your gaming console at home. And AI, over these next decades, will be a similarly important fundamental technology that will change the world that we live and work in. And students today, you have the chance to get on the ground floor of something that will dramatically change our world. And like my skills in computational modeling and visualization that were portable to a wide range of fields, your skills will be portable to a wide range of application areas, and you're going to see that and learn a little about that in our webinar today. Our purpose is to create digital worlds, we call it 3D experience universes, to create sustainable innovations capable of harmonizing product, nature, and life. We will digitize not only the products, but the environment and humans and all of these interactions that take place in our world. And we know as a result that the virtual world extends and improves the real world. And I want to show you a brief example. Cars today are completely modeled and simulated before anything is physically tested or built. And the example here you see is the BMW 6 Series. They use our software at BMW to completely model and simulate anything before they build what they call a verification vehicle. You can imagine that they can do thousands of experiments, optimize the design of the product before they have to spend literally billions on fitting up and beginning to manufacture a product. This didn't happen overnight. The automotive industry invested in this technology over many years, and we also were investing on improving the fidelity of the tools that we have. And we see the exact same journey taking place now in the life sciences industry, and you'll see some videos about that here in just a moment. So as Dr. Bird said, the 3D Experience platform is our collaborative, multidisciplinary platform for innovation. And now you're going to see 5 short videos that highlight the work of Dassault Systems. Very quickly, the first will be of my colleague Martin from Scandinavia talking about this platform for about a minute. Then you'll see a video on the Living Heart Project, the only completely digital model of the human heart in the world, both a physical model, a fluid dynamics model to model the blood flow, and an electrical model. As you know, the heart is stimulated with an electrical impulse. Then you'll see a short video about manufacturing in the pharmaceutical and life sciences industry, some focus on how and why we're focused on the science of life sciences, and finally, a short little video on how you might learn robotics at LIU using what we call a digital twin. You'll see the digital images of the robot arm and the actual physical robot arm side by side. So I hope you enjoy these videos and they give you a little bit of an introduction to what we do at Dassault Systèmes. Thank you.
Many of you know Dassault Systems as a supplier of several leading software solutions. What you also might know is that we merge these solutions into one single platform, which we call 3D Experience. With the 3D Experience platform, companies are able to design, simulate, optimize, collaborate in real time, and explore the final experience of their solution in all lifecycle stages, long before any products or services are produced. With the power of combining the digital world with the real world, we help clients in multiple industries to improve efficiency and productivity, while at the same time reduce cost and CO2 emissions. By connecting the right people with the right information at the right time, we allow our clients to generate sustainable innovations in order to harmonize product, nature, and life.
Cardiology is a wonderful field. It's what we call the bleeding edge of medicine. It's not only the single leading cause of mortality and morbidity, death and dying across the world, but it is the discipline in which innovation first strikes. Computational modeling is entering every aspect of medicine, biology, science, and technology. It does at least 3 very important things. It helps us design the next new thing. It helps us understand how the body works, and it's going to be a tool that clinicians use to decide what the optimal therapy is for each specific patient.
So the way we use computational modeling and simulation is when you go in for a CT scan or an MRI, we're able to take those images and create three-dimensional models of them. We can then take those models and put them into computers, and since we understand the equations of flow and mechanics, we can start to produce images like the one you see here of a wall shear stress on a vessel. And this vessel particularly is blocked, so it's somebody who maybe had a heart attack, and now we want to investigate why they had that heart attack.
We have an embarrassment of riches. We have more drugs, we have more devices, we have more interventions than we would ever use for one specific patient. But we don't necessarily know which is the right one for each individual person. Computational modeling will become a very important part of the personalization of medicine. We can reconstruct a person's anatomy. We can even predict their biologic response, and the day will come when we can use computational biology and computational modeling to allow us to choose a drug, a device, an intervention for a specific person. So we no longer have to rely on experience or intuition or just luck in terms of choosing what would be best for our specific patient.
I'm Steve Levine, work for Dassault Systèmes Simulia, and I'm the project director for the Living Heart Project. The Living Heart Project is really an effort to bring together the best science that's out there for modeling the cardiovascular system using computational tools. The biggest challenge I think cardiologists have is understanding the individual patient. The technology we have today often provides fingerprints or an indication of what the problem is, but not a direct analysis of what the problem is. It's very difficult, expensive, and sometimes very invasive to actually see what's going on. What we think we can do is we can take a simulation of that exact heart by taking our understanding of the physics of the heart and providing that in full 3D to that cardiologist so he can actually get a true representation of what's happening. So we used our 3D technology to create immersive 3D environments. And we've built two scenarios, one which is a virtual operating room, which allows you to see how a surgeon could be looking at a patient on a table, and you can investigate surgical procedures in real time. The second scenario is really a deep dive investigation into the heart itself, and that's where the interesting part comes. When they're in that heart, it's beating and the sounds are going, everyone has the same reaction, where it takes them to a place where they said, wow, this is really powerful. I can really feel how this can make a difference.
We hope that this project sort of takes the top off the box for research. In a digital world, we don't have to worry about a specific patient. We don't have to worry about legal issues. We can take those constraints off of our research and allow whatever innovations the researchers have to be tried digitally and not worry about an incorrect outcome.
We focused specifically on modeling the heart because cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of people worldwide. So we stuck to a particular community, but we know that each of the body's organs has its own community. We expect organ by organ, each of these communities will step up and say, well, if the heart team can do it, then maybe we, the brain team, can do it, and people who focus on the liver can do it. And slowly but surely, the entire body will be modeled.
Computational modeling will be an essential part of everything we do as clinicians and scientists. It will be embedded in hospitals and in laboratories. We've advanced from a static X-ray to three-dimensional reconstructions. Now imagine if we could intervene virtually and show the physician and the patient what would happen if we do this operation, this intervention, this insertion and implantation. This is all going to be part of the medicine of the future, and the future is not so far away. It's in our lifetime.
Seeing the people we love, healthy, doing what we love, together. It's the role of life sciences to protect what matters most. Progress stems from the minds of visionaries who challenge the status quo. Today's pioneers are innovating new ways to prevent, diagnose, cure, and care, and to improve the patient experience and quality of life. But creating new healthcare experiences is complex, requiring a diversity of knowledge and know-how, openly shared across an ecosystem to connect the dots. It means converting big data into smart data, leveraging collective intelligence, and empowering life sciences stakeholders with model-based engineering, simulating real-world conditions in a virtual world, creating sustainable new business models that will improve safety, efficiency, and patient outcomes. Dassault Systèmes 3D Experience Platform is the catalyst and enabler, a scientific and collaborative environment fostering sustainable growth and workforce of the future empowerment, improving the patient experience by harmonizing product, nature, and life, creating a better and healthier world. In a future made possible by virtual universes, experience the future today.
Patients expect affordable, efficacious, and safe healthcare wherever they are and whenever they need it. Biopharmaceutical organizations produce therapeutic solutions to address patients' changing needs, and in the process, assume significant responsibility to provide consistent product quality and efficacy wherever they are manufactured. Ensuring that these therapies are produced as designed and as registered is an important and continuous challenge. The global shift to precision medicine continues to be facilitated by advances in translational sciences, genomics, and biotechnology-based medicines. Driven by superior efficacy, pricing, and exclusivity, and the ability to satisfy previously unmet medical needs, biologics have overtaken traditional small molecules as the preferred therapeutic solutions. As newer biologic medicines come to market, the first generation of biologics are beginning to face competition from biosimilars as patents expire. All of these changes are creating a paradigm shift in pharmaceutical manufacturing to more predictive and adaptive facilities that leverage modular technology, disposable components, the Internet of Things, smart objects, remote control, and augmented reality. With investments in next-generation manufacturing, pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies will significantly extend their competitive advantage and move toward their objectives of globalization, market differentiation, and speed to market, all while controlling costs and continuing to focus on total quality. The Dassault Systèmes 3D Experience platform gives healthcare organizations the environment and capabilities to consistently deliver outstanding healthcare worldwide. For executives, meeting these objectives requires visibility with real-time access to critical KPIs. Manufacturing, quality, and process development teams can work together across boundaries to minimize costs for stakeholders and risks to healthcare consumers. At the same time, these teams deliver business benefits, including minimized variability, reliably predictable quality, optimized production operations, and positive supply chain impacts. High-quality launches are enabled by end-to-end digital integration across the value chain. Vertically integrated and networked manufacturing systems enable operational excellence, and continuous improvement is enabled through global process consistency and real-time visibility, delivered across a global, horizontally integrated value chain. The Dassault Systèmes solution for manufacturing provides visibility across the enterprise and data-driven decision-making for therapeutics design, development, and commercialization. Infusing virtualization and simulation into manufacturing, planning, and operations helps ensure therapies are produced as designed and as registered in the most cost-effective and high-quality manner. This means that therapeutics can be delivered to market sooner, and patients can count on a faster, more reliable delivery of medicines wherever and whenever they are needed.
Dassault Systèmes is the richest scientific organization in the world of software development. When it comes to developing solutions that can address real-life issues, BioVia has created a unique opportunity for us to address massive scientific challenges in various industries, from transportation to life sciences to high-tech to natural resources. There's been fantastic progress made since 1890s when medicine was formalized in the form of treatments that were administered in a repeatable fashion. Since then, science has come to a point of identifying roughly 3,000 diseases. Of these 3,000, 25% of them are addressed. A number of them remain to be addressed. We are in a unique position at Dassault Systèmes to address these. How do we do that? Our platform is truly required in this process. Let me give you an example. Let's talk about a normal drug that many patients are given to deal with pain, Tylenol 3. It's a form of codeine that turns into morphine. But for that to happen, a particular enzyme needs to be active in the human. And that enzyme is not in all of us. So our genomics, our DNA, dictates whether that enzyme is active or inactive. By being able to open up our platform to the entire process from research to development to manufacturing of these drugs, tying it to the clinical space and bringing that information back to research, will be far more successful in putting drugs in market that actually are far more effective in terms of the efficacy of the drug and the population that it can address. All these solutions require deep science, and BioVia is unique in bringing a depth of science at scales that we refer to as microscopic scale to understand the scientific nature of these challenges.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa Loreni. As co-producer of today's webinar, I'd like to start by thanking Al Bunchef for sharing all the exciting work and innovation happening at Dassault Systèmes. We'll hear from Al again after the presentations when he leads the Q&A session with our panelists. Now I'd like to tell you all a little bit about the speakers you are going to hear from this afternoon. You will see 4 presentations played back to back. The first presentation will be from Dr. Rajay El-Awad, President of the University for New Africa in Casablanca, Morocco. Her talk is titled The AI Paradigm in Health, Accelerating Innovation. Following Dr. El-Awad is a talk titled AI in Silico Drug Discovery, given by Dr. Reza Sadeghi, CSO of BioVia at Dassault Systèmes. Then we'll hear from Emmanuel Dafa, CTO and Director of Market Strategy at FAAR Industry, His talk is called Workforce and Industry Outlook. And our final presentation will be from Michael Dempsey, Head of Advanced Solutions and Digital Assets for the Bank of New York Mellon Corporation, who will speak about AI transformation and strategy in business. As you watch each presentation, we will invite you to post your questions in the Q&A module at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Please indicate who your question is directed to, and please share your name with us. After all the presentations, we will invite our presenters to join us live to answer those questions. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Let's go to the first presentation.
My name is Raja Elawad. I'm the president of the University for New Africa. I would like to thank the webinar organizer for inviting me to join the panel, and I'm delighted to share with you a presentation entitled Artificial Intelligence Paradigm Accelerating Innovation. My presentation will cover a short introduction, the areas of impact of AI in health, mainly in pharmaceuticals and new drugs development, and public health domains. I will also share with you a modest vision for implementing AI in health ecosystem in Africa before concluding. Early artificial intelligence research and application did not achieve routine use by practitioners for several reasons, among which computer power and data availability and quality at that time. Several medical and technological advancements occurring over the last half century have enabled the growth of healthcare-related applications that leverage AI. There are the exponential increase in computing power, resulting in rapid data collection and data processing, the growth of genomic sequencing database, the widespread implementation of electronic medical record system, the enhancements in natural language processing and computer vision, enabling machines to reproduce human-like processes, vast leaps in deep learning techniques and data logs of rare diseases, and enhanced precision in micromechanics, paving the way for robot-assisted surgery. Since that, we have been witnessing an explosion of the AI application in health. In fact, AI in healthcare is one of the most significant technological advancements in medicine so far. The global AI in healthcare market is expected to reach 45.2 billion by 2026. And the development of AI-driven imaging and diagnosis solution is the major factor contributing to the growth of the market. China, the US, and the UK are emerging as popular hubs for healthcare innovation. The major factors driving the growth of the market are the increased volume of healthcare data and growing complexity of data sets, the intensifying need to reduce towering healthcare costs, improving computing power and declining hardware costs, growing number of cross-industry partnerships and collaboration, and rising imbalance between health workforce and patients, driving the need for improvised healthcare services. The adoption of this technology by multiple pharmaceutical and biotech companies across the world to expedite vaccine or drug development processes for COVID-19 was another major factor fueling the market growth during last year. So here we are, artificial intelligence in health and medicine accelerating innovation. First of all, AI is impacting several areas in healthcare ecosystem, improving population health management, improving services and hospital operation, and strengthening innovation. In fact, integrating AI in the healthcare ecosystem allows for a multitude of benefits, including automation tasks and analyzing big patient data sets to deliver better healthcare faster and at a lower cost. According to Business Insider Intelligence 2020, 30% of healthcare costs are associated with administrative tasks. AI can automate some of these tasks to ease the workload of healthcare professionals and ultimately save them money. whether it's used to find new links between genetic codes or to drive surgery assistant robots, artificial intelligence is reinventing and reinvigorating modern healthcare through machines that can predict, comprehend, learn, and act. When it comes to the latest application of AI in health and medicine, it covers almost all the areas. Artificial intelligence is rocking medical diagnosis with its potential to incite drastic improvement to hospital processes, lessening physician workload, reducing misdiagnosis, and empowering clinical staff to provide more value. AI is now taking medical imaging technology further by enabling higher automation and increased productivity and allowing early detection of anomalies and diseases. Most hospitals and clinics have hospital information system software to handle the process of appointment, treatment follow-up, and other administrative processes by integrating electronic health records of patients. Furthermore, AI healthcare provides support to clinicians for predictive analytics in real time and solves operational challenges across the hospital functions. It also saves staff time, reduces steps, and removes paper-based processes through automated data collection, analysis, reporting, and communication. As we can see, artificial intelligence currently is being applied in medical research, in emergency room and surgery, for treatment of mental health, in nutrition, to build virtual assistants, and in wearable application. When it comes to pharmaceutical and new drugs developments, artificial intelligence is covering the whole life cycles, from drug discovery, preclinical phase, clinical development, and phase 4. In fact, artificial intelligence is speeding up the drug discovery phases, covering drug screening, prediction of the physicochemical properties, prediction of bioactivity and toxicity. It's also speeding up the design of drug molecules, predicting the target protein structure, predicting drug-protein interaction. It's covered the whole preclinical phase, speeding up the clinical trial design, covering phase 1, 2, and 3, as already mentioned, the pharmacovigilance phase 4 that occurs after the start of drug marketing. When it comes to the value chain of drug discovery, artificial intelligence is advancing pharmaceutical products development and pharmaceutical manufacturing, including quality control and quality assurance, the post-market surveillance, and the patient support. Artificial intelligence, in fact, has an enormous potential to revolutionize drug discovery. We are witnessing an explosion of biotech companies using artificial intelligence softwares, or artificial intelligence software companies partnering with pharmaceutical and drug companies to accelerate the innovation and drug discovery and development. The COVID-19 new vaccines development and drugs repurposing gave us a clear demonstration of this acceleration. We have here several AI-based computational tools for drug discovery, the Medidata tool that is being used for clinical trials, and the BioVia from Dassault Systèmes for drug discovery. How artificial intelligence is being applied to public health domains. Public health domains is another important field where artificial intelligence has impacted a lot on health sector by covering health protection, health promotion, and increasing efficiency of health services. In fact, with regard to health protection, it provides with tools for real-time surveillance and disease detection, as well as means for public health risk prediction and modeling response approach. I'm sharing here some example of COVID-19 deaths and hospital research use in Morocco during the COVID-19 epidemics. So let's now share this modest vision on implementing AI in health ecosystem in Africa. Knowing the health challenges in Africa, especially maternal and child health, infectious and non-communicable diseases, in a context of worsening shortage of health workers, being aware of issues around implementing artificial intelligence for healthcare in Africa that includes data availability and quality, legal and policy issues, cost of AI application and adoption, inadequate infrastructure in Africa, we remain convinced that artificial intelligence as a technology can potentially address some health system gaps and play an active role in 4 key areas, including population health, individual care, health system, and pharmaceuticals and medical technology. There are several opportunities that support this trajectory, like telehealth that may complement inadequate human resources, chatbots that may minimize hospital visits and assist with triaging before medical consultation, specially designed AI mobile application requiring little skills can help with diagnosing in remote areas. By adapting to local cultures and languages, AI automated translation solution could also improve access to and use of services as well as compliance with treatment. Electronic disease surveillance may be useful in the attenuation of epidemics, particularly in Africa where diseases outbreaks are recurrent. And finally, the use of AI in administrative and clinical services can help to save time on routine tasks, such as automation of adjunct activity like writing chart notes, prescribing medication, and ordering tests. Implementing AI in health ecosystem in Africa will require at least the following conditions that we call condition of success. The first one will be acceleration of the ongoing improvements in Africa's infrastructure, especially electricity and internet penetration. With smartphone penetration projected to increase by over 100% in Africa over the next 30 years, AI developers need to put more focus on solutions that can be easily deployed on smartphones rather than on personal computers. African countries must enact laws and policies that will give the application of this technology to healthcare and protect the users. Third, identify and understand health priorities and potential solutions by having all the stakeholders involved in the development and implementation of these technologies. Fourth, responsible local leadership to develop robust AI healthcare technologies adapted to local contexts and beneficial for local population. Fifth, training and retention of local expertise and increasing the number of data scientists in Africa to repurpose already existing AI for medical use. Disciplines such as bioinformatics, data science, genomics, computational biology, and applied mathematics need to be addressed. Six, strengthening research and development and investing in industrial transformation of research products to create job opportunities and encourage local industries and international partnership. Seventh, involving health professionals in EI health application research and development early in the process. And eighth, furthering cooperation between governments and states, trade and commerce to create more robust digitalized healthcare for the continent. And as a conclusion, I would like to highlight the tremendous promise in the possibilities that AI offers in transforming and improving healthcare, especially in low and middle income countries like Africa. Despite the field remaining nascent, AI-driven health intervention could lead to improving the health outcome in Africa and low and middle income countries. Finally, I would like to let you know that the University for a New Africa that will be launched in September 2021 in Morocco is committed to contribute to the following. First, training a critical workforce in digital health and AI health application skills, engaging in digital health and AI health application research, development and innovation, and partnering with health professionals, industry, local communities and government, and international organizations to transform research to beneficial products to improve health outcomes. Thank you for your attention.
I want to thank you for inviting me to this wonderful event, and I'm very much looking forward to the roundtable as well. The topic that I was asked to speak to is AI and in silico drug discovery. We've been busy in this area, and you'll see how much progress we've made and what challenges remain that we are excited to go work on. It is a very complex field. New modalities bring complexity, and in that regard, we really do need to look at the topic of the workforce of the future, meaning that how we design drugs in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and 80s may have worked to give us small molecules effectively. Will it work for biologics? We know it's not going to really do well for cell and gene therapy. And now I'm going to dig into that with you and share with you what some of the ideas are and how much progress we made. And it's really all about science. It's all about deep science and understanding what proteins want to do, they do, and how we need to bind to them. It really comes down to that core. Easier said than done. Modeling a protein is a very complex process. We'll talk about it in a little bit. The process of designing a drug is depicted in this chart. Research, discovery, preclinical, clinical testing, manufacturing, commercialization. These are the stages that we go through. Those little images underneath them are very telling. In the drug design, you build one compound, they call it the billion-dollar compound. The compound, as I shared with you in the previous chart, can be simple like an aspirin, can be very complex in the case of biologics. But then you come to the stage of clinical testing and making things. In the case of biologics, it's done in a bioreactor. A bioreactor is evolution on a dial. How do you control the growth of a cell, not one, billions of cells, in a coherent fashion that the cells not only grow, they grow with efficiency, and they have the properties that you want them to have. Not easy to do. So I have a lot of respect for people who actually work on the manufacturing topic, although my focus is on the research side and deep science side. But we'll come to the topic of science more so in this talk. So small molecules have their challenges: chemical process, synthesis, manufacturing, biologics, yeast, mammalian cells, derived biologics, and then getting to the production phase of the biologics. And cell and gene therapy, basically one person, one drug, specialized, personalized, precise medicine or precision medicine. Our platform is designed really to do this. And more important, we are designed to work with AI, and more to say on that. But before that, I've got some good news to share with you. Advances in single cell imaging tools and single cell RNA sequencing is allowing our scientists to build increasingly high resolution maps of the cells. We are blessed to be alive now, working in the world of science now with this in our hands or accessible to us. While this is the basis for diagnostics and diagnosis, it's a tremendous tool for us for designing new treatments as well. Back to AI, back to machine learning, and I'll tie this together. This data becomes extremely important to us when we come to machine learning. Novel therapeutics, meaning designing a new drug, a drug that might be complex, we haven't done it before. And how do we do this? Well, we are doing it, and it's taken us years to do. 5 years on average, time spent in discovery to get to 1,000 to 10,000 compounds, and then we need to filter down to eventually one. The productivity challenge really is related to science, and you'll see in a second. It's not that we just are inefficient. The science is complex. And frankly, the human eye can only see what the human eye can see. The human mind can process what the human mind can process. Hence, AI and machine learning augmenting the scientists' work and allowing to look in the design space with speed and efficiency that AI and machine learning enable us to do, which hopefully will take us from a 2% back to 10% and even higher that we are targeting in terms of efficiency. Now, drug design has very complicated, competing set of properties that we just cannot simplify. And the competition is physics-based. Potency and safety, they compete. Off-target selectivity, they compete. Toxicity competes with everything, bioavailability, solubility, stability, etc. You see the list and you see this whack-a-mole matrix where it's really tough to get everything go green, but that's what we have to do before we have a drug that we can begin to test it in mammals and eventually in humans. And that is what AI can help us with as well. In the process, in the overall process of drug design, there are some areas that we can focus in because that's where the challenge, scientific challenge is. And that's in lead identification and lead optimization. Lead identification and lead optimization. So we have a target, we do a hit to target, we identify that, we have a lead, we got to optimize that lead against that matrix that I just shared with you that has competing elements in it. Here is an opportunity to go deeper into how AI and drug design can help us. In a traditional way of designing drugs, we spend 5 years to go from target to lead optimization with the help of AI. Cutting it by half is a reasonable expectation, and bringing the entire process down by a factor of 2 is also a reasonable expectation. More so than reducing the time by a factor of 2, reducing the number of failures is also important. We got a compound, it meets its design criteria or KPIs, but then we go into clinical trials and lots of things happen there that leads to that drug failing in the clinical phase, and AI can help us there as well. AI-assisted generative design. AI is a keyword and generative is a keyword here as well. AI is definitely going to help us in taking a design and automatically, in an automated fashion, improve that design. We call that generative design. But the generative design only works if you feed it proper data. And where does that data come from? You have to have protein data, you have to have posing information about the protein. You have to understand if a particular design is bioavailable, et cetera, et cetera. All of that goes into classes of models. First, principle-based models that are purely based on electron density, concentration of a given chemical or chemistry, in this case, a compound. And then a bunch of knowledge-based models that I'll touch upon as well. So GTD helps us to, and the team of chemists, to be much more productive and much more agile than they are today. They can begin to imagine what a compound could be, because in this environment of generative therapeutic design, we let the physical world and the virtual world to work together. We let the generative design, with the help of AI, improve on the design, at some point stop and do a scoring, which I'll get into, continue with that, stop again, and request the physical test to be performed to get some, if you would, alignment between what we measure versus what we predict, and continue this in this automated fashion. And you'll see that in a little movie that I'll play for you at the end of this. Generative therapeutic design breaks into setting your target product profile, meaning what you want the drug to do or not to do, generate compounds, balancing all objectives, color coding, indicating where we're successful, where we're not successful. So we spend more time on the areas where we have challenges, either intervene or let the design focus in that area. Monitoring convergence to see on which parameters we're converging and not converging. Inspecting and selecting the compounds that we do want to test based on the scoring that we do, balancing between structural features and desirability. Structural features and desirability. Can you make it versus, yeah, I've got something that has lots of great capabilities, but may not be possible to make and keep stable. As you can see, it's a very complex, multi-dimensional, many-dimensional optimization problem. Virtual screening is a topic that is critical to all aspects of this new way of designing drugs, because you're looking at 10 to the power of 10, 10 to the power of 20 type sample sets that we begin with. We reduce them down to a smaller set. Each time you want to add something to your design, you got to look at a large sample and look at the impact of individuals in that sample, whether one is going to give you a better result or not, and what will it do to the overall set of criteria that you've set up for yourself. So compound library virtual and receptor grid being virtual, and then eventually going to a physical world, compiling the result, doing a first pass, second pass, nth pass, and synthesizing this to eventually get a correlation between prediction and real world. Virtual screening is done in 2D and 3D. When we talk about docking, pharmacophore scoring, that's done in 3D. Big topic, lots of science, lots of great science there that we won't have time to talk about, but docking is a topic all by itself that we could spend many hours on. Fingerprint searching, 2D pharmacophore, that's also happening all inside this AI-driven loop. Shape-based, ligand-based, shape-based, which is also done in 3D. So you can see there's a lot of 2D, 3D, and then on top of that, I'll be talking about knowledge-based models that are system-like models. Docking, scoring, and filtering, that is really the big loop. And I wanted to add this image to the conversation. We have an agonist and a receptor. Think of it as a key and a lock. And the key must fit the lock. And it really must fit the lock for the drug to be effective, available, soluble, and not too toxic, or not meet the toxicity target. Docking is performed in an ensemble of receptors, scoring and filtering on a number of designs. I mentioned simulation, first principles. So this AI loop relies on a solver solving and simulating these models that are constantly evolving. And there are many methods at our disposal, and they all have their application areas and areas of strength. High throughput methods rule out inactive molecules that are there but aren't really participating in the synthesis that we want to happen. Endpoint method, balancing throughput and accuracy, and free energy method, a very critical method that lets us down select molecules for synthesis. Do you have the binding forces that you need for the agonist and the receptor to work together, referring to the previous image? It's an eye chart, but unfortunately it needs to be, because the structure-based models and knowledge-based models are rich in nature and important and needed to take a compound ideation through these models in an AI-assisted loop through retrosynthesis, and I'll talk about retrosynthesis with you, to be able to assess the pharmacokinetic and the pharmacodynamic of a given drug. And that is indeed what we do with GTD. We let the loop go, AI is assisting, and we get to PK/PD properties. And then at some point we decide if it's working or not working. Do we want to synthesize, test, or not? A little bit on complexity of structure-based designs, one or many months of process time down to 1 day. These are all happening because of the recent advances in high-performance computing, to be able to do what was taking months in days, maybe hours, depending on whose GPU platform you may have access to. Knowledge-based drug design relies on methods that you may have heard about: automated model building using Bayesian, random forest type methods, target, anti-target, ADME, tox methods captured in knowledge-based models, and federating all of this on a platform that allows multiple systems and multiple scientists to work together. I mentioned retrosynthesis, and I wanted to highlight the importance of retrosynthesis. It is a critical piece of technology needed in drug design. It helps us score a given generated design or a generative design to know if that generative design has a chance to be built, and then aside from can it be built, to will it meet certain criteria that we want it to meet. So retrosynthesis is a virtual way, which is also machine learning has in its loop, to help us get to the target that we want to get. So the retrosynthesis is a big piece of technology in this mechanism. And ultimately, all of this giving us the 50% efficiency. Let me play this video for you, which summarizes what I said in the next couple of minutes as to what it is that we're trying to do. Thousands of compounds going through this process, leading us to being able to say what we want the drug to do and not to do, etc., target profiling, optimizing. This is all being done with AI. There's no human in the loop yet. And the human comes in the loop once the design is ready for retrosynthesis and the models that are needed to start the process. Otherwise, AI is running the loop, and machine learning is hard at work, and deep learning, to be specific, is hard at work. Good. So that was it. I wanted to end by saying that novel therapeutics, particularly in the area of cell and gene, CAR T, etc., precision medicine, even bring more challenging and yet more interesting scientific opportunities for all of us to go work on. And that's what we're focused on, is to make sure that all of this can help us not just in chemical/small molecule, but in cell and gene therapy as well. And our platform is not just designed to do the discovery part, but our platform extends to the physical part, which is the development phase, and then into clinical and post-clinical. I want to thank you for the time that you've allowed me, and I hope I was able to communicate to you the importance of AI in this conversation, in this discussion, and I look forward to the roundtable with you.
Hello to everybody. I'm Emmanuel Darfay, co-founder of FAAR Industry, and I'm currently the CTO of the company. I will introduce you our company and why we are integrate new artificial intelligence process to enhance our company performance. So let's start with a quick overview of FAAR. FAAR was founded in 2004 and become quite quickly a recognized leader to deliver very advanced electronic embedded system for the automotive industry first, and then aircraft and marine and railway industries. So to be pragmatic, these products are the electronic brain of the car, of the aircraft, of the train, etc. So we have two main locations. Our headquarters in Paris region, which is in the biggest technological park in France. And the other one is in Morocco, near the sea and the sun, with a very pleasant place to work and especially for the engineering staff. So we have also, we ensure also a worldwide presence with our network partners located in the US, Korea, India, Sweden, and so on. So the role of FAAR is to deliver the most advanced and technological electronic control solution for our customers in low volume. So low volume application system means for 90% of the project, a product ramp up innovation. In other words, this means this is often the first production release of a major innovation brought in the market. For instance, autonomous driving car is a significant business development for our company, but as well as new technologies for zero emission vehicle like innovative fuel cell, innovative battery with new chemical component. That's also part of our business. We are finally the link between the advanced research result done in university, for instance, and the market release. So we have the opportunities to deploy the advanced engineering processes and industrialize innovation solution for our customer, and this is very exciting. Therefore, we are focused on engineering efficiency with a maximum of automation in all our development process, including, of course, deep learning and artificial intelligence power to reduce time to market, which is to some extent a key factor of the success of the company. So now let's talk about the repercussion of human resource management. Our unique position in the market have a strong repercussion on our human resource management. Recently, we have extracted 15 years of data and compiled them. And we have realized that our staff knowledge and operation and capability increase much more faster than the average level in our business area for similar company. And moreover, this is true for every position in the company. So we could say it's magic. No, it's not magic. But this is a result of a high level of automation that we have introduced in the daily task in every department of the company. This is increasing significantly each resource productivity and natural learning curves. In fact, we have automated all the manual data treatment tasks we could using deep learning algorithm and automation to keep as much as possible the pleasant and the intelligent part of the work. Therefore, what becomes now for DNA, culture of automation for efficiency, needs also an evolution of the management process and in order to extract the best production of the team, in fact. Finally, like a Ferrari, you need to learn how to drive fast with so much powerful car. to be efficient on the track. In fact, that's the same in FAAR. You need to learn how to use these tools to be more efficient in your work. So our hiring strategy is therefore more focused on the talent acquisition, who have the ability to manage high-level data, understand complex situation, understand also customer high level of expectation, but remain agile and with a real-time reaction capability. So you can see here a testing prototype car equipped with a lot of systems, and that also have a data collection system in this picture that generate, for instance, 10 teraoctave of data in 4 of test. So you can easily understand that FAAR is more looking of resource able to play with this data, compute and extract the useful information in order to build the best action plan and reduce the time losses dedicated to useless tasks. So here is a manual treatment of data collection task to validate the vehicle and the function. So all the tools and the process deployed are dedicated to support this objective. This is why artificial intelligence tools and data management and processing are a strong help in our company. The lack of available resources with this mindset and experience has also pushed FAAR to develop a specific in-house training process able to bring faster young people to the top level of excellence. And now, based on our building partnership with Long Island University, we will industrialize with much more power this task and using the most advanced tools like Dassault Suite also provide. So the job position at FAAR are currently open for engineering staff, business development and marketing and project management. All these job positions now require these specific competencies of understanding the power of deep learning and artificial intelligence in order to increase efficiency and productivity, and including a specific ability to integrate new process and new business model for new technology. Today, a comprehensive knowledge of artificial intelligence is a strong differential factor to succeed in every position at FAAR and to be hard. Data collection are everywhere, in fact. Standard increase daily, generate always more tasks and data to analyze and for which you need to extract useful information and finally decide. So today, developing a comprehensive knowledge of what to do with data becomes very crucial. FAAR offers a chance to work in a very exciting environment that combines new technology and massive financial resources. Our market provides the best of technology, remain very competitive and cost-effective due to automotive practice, stay high technological due to aerospace practice also, and are very agile for special operation condition due to military purpose, for instance, and some of the activities that I keep quite secret. In this area, just imagine a car in the street has more as 1,500 sensors collecting up to 1 teraoctave of embedded data that could be downloaded daily in the cloud with high-speed wire link. This is absolutely done during testing phase in some interesting testing condition, by the way. And for instance, we have some testing condition on boat and special vehicle, and with the goal of collecting a maximum of data to validate the vehicle in the working condition. So post-treatment of data without deep learning and robot to find the failure becomes a real need with a strong increase of the embedded electronics. So you need some help to understand the data and to compute the data and to go faster in your validation process. You can see in your picture, there is some pictures that for autonomous driving car where you recognize some object in the street. And how do you recognize some object in the street? It's really because your algorithm has been trained by deep learning and artificial intelligence that have seen 20,000 different cars in the street, so they can recognize this as a car. And you have seen a lot of trees in the street, so they know that this is a trees because they have a bank of 30,000 trees in the bank. So with the deep learning and artificial intelligence, they are more and more training to be more and more efficient. In fact, like a real driver, you train your electronic system with artificial intelligence to understand complex situation in the street. So high business area is dedicated to the top industry of the world, which need adapted innovation cycles, such as high-end automotive manufacturer, aircraft, helicopter, marine, recreative application, and so on. All these business areas have a need for quality, time to market, efficiency, and low volume application. The quality needed for those applications are on the top of the market, managed by small team most of the time, and is using data collection and automation to ensure this quality level with so much and so complex function to perform. Just to figure out in your daily life, data collection increasing significantly. I just put some pictures to figure out what kind of data collection you can have with a military plane, business plane, and also automotive industry. And you can see that data collection is no longer a challenge. The challenge becomes how to use the data, in fact. So like internet, you can find everything on internet, but the challenge is to find what you are searching for. And data collection for embedded services, such as car, for instance, could be used for technical purpose, like planning a service maintenance of the vehicle by understanding the technical situation of the vehicle, extract from data, like noise, like vibration, and so on. You can understand that some pieces are end of life or not, and you can plan a service maintenance. For commercial purpose also, to send some software update to update your vehicle on customer request, for instance, to have a new power or a new use case of your car. Marketing purpose, for instance, you can gather real utilization of the car, gather data on real utilization of the car, and not only what the customer wants to tell you in customer market research, and you can segregate the dream of the customer in customer inquiries and between the real utilization of the car on. So you can plan finally the difference of market research result and real utilization of the car, and that's a key factor for marketing purpose. So today, in a company of FAAR, you can have a question on how to use 1 teraoctet of data by your boss. 1,000 teraoctet of data. So, and if you, of course, you all know that you need to do data processing to extract the useful information, but how many will be able to understand that you need to train an algorithm to extract better data, the best data, and most advanced data, and you can do it in real time with data flow coming? Maybe only those who have understand and studies deep learning and AI capabilities during their training courses, like in Long Island University. So this is why data collection and processing are on the top of the priority of a lot of companies such as FAAR. FAAR is also looking to go further with artificial intelligence capability to combine them with augmented reality and extract the best efficiency of this new tech. For instance, combining artificial intelligence and augmented reality process could bring products development validation before prototypes. So yeah, you can combine virtual PCs with real PCs, and you can assemble them and see if the assembly is right. That's what proposed also Dassault in their development process. Process planification performance, for instance, you can understand how the part could be integrated each other with using virtual part and real part and real existing part. You can do some customers virtual service maintenance, for instance, like understand how you can change some PCs on a virtual model, for instance, and combine to a real model. So have a part of virtual and part of real. And of course, all these new services was not possible before this technology. So this is a key factor of the excellence of the company. And also for the staff who manage to know how to use this technology and to extract the best information and characterize the market and provide finally the useful information for the customer. Just imagine we have done a development for our military application where we can propose with augmented reality to train any people using some tools, some specific tools for service maintenance everywhere in the world. So basically, you have the tools equipped with augmented reality system, and you can train anyone, anywhere in the world to do complex operation on vehicles, for instance, without having a strong training session before, just by virtual training on site with combining artificial intelligence and augmented reality. So that's a key factor of the excellence of the company. So thank you for your attention, and I hope I have given you the wishes to come and work in companies such as FAAR. And if you have any question, I will be pleased to answer.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Dempsey, Head of Digital Assets and Advanced Solutions here at BNY Mellon. Today I'll share with you applications of machine learning and AI in financial services, and we'll use examples from what we're doing at the bank. We have our data scientists and engineers who continue to deliver innovative solutions that are transforming our services. We have use cases from operations to finance to powering new products and solutions that we're extending to our clients as services as well. And I'll touch on a couple of them during our presentation today. We have significant confidence and a high degree of conviction on the power of AI and its ability to truly transform how we work. And for that reason, we've been investing in this space. We're seeing tangible results, and we're continuing to expand our application across the enterprise, and it's an area that we see continue to grow. And the next few minutes, I'll cover three topics in this space. We'll start with where we see value, or what type of problems or challenges we can solve with these powerful capabilities. And we'll jump into key considerations that you need to factor in for a successful implementation. And we'd love to share with you our perspective on ethical use of AI, what it means to us. And it's an important topic for us that we take very seriously. So let's start with where we see value in this space. I'd like to put it in categories or themes. Three themes to share with you. The first is probably the most obvious one that comes to mind, which is automation. Automating labor-intensive, repetitive tasks that we do day in and day out, but machines are better equipped to handle it. They can do it faster, they can do it at scale, and really they can do it with less errors than people can. So it is a very vast area of opportunity, to deploy or unleash, these powerful tools. Second area is predictive analytics. We are, we have more and more data assets, every day, and that is an opportunity for us to really unlock insights with the goal of actually being able to make better decisions, equipped with those insights. And we'll talk about, what that means with examples. Another area that is equally important is enhancing risk management. We talk about AI actually being able to amplify the power that we have and being able to see through, a mountain of data and really identify unusual activity that we care about because it's telling us, it is signaling a particular problem or risk, that we need to manage. So for that reason, it's a robust space. To deploy this, these capabilities as well. This is better illustrated with examples, so let's get to it. So let me start with automation. One of our businesses, deals with a large volume of payment instructions that come from our clients. Majority of them are fully automated, but even a small fraction of large amount is still significant. So this business alone deals with 40 to 50 to 100,000 of manual instructions a month that come to us. So when I say manual instruction, think of an email with an attachment that actually has a particular wire instruction on it. Our processors need to receive that, identify what action needs to be taken, and key in, that information. So it is a high risk activity because if you, type in the amount incorrectly, this would be a risk. So for that reason, we double down, and we have other checkers actually who, verify what the first set of, operators actually have put in the system. So you can imagine the resource need, to do this type of work. And machines are, tailor-made for this type of application, especially when you, deploy machine learning in an effective way. And that's exactly what we've done. It intercepts the instructions when they come in and the first thing it does is actually to classify what it is. Is it an outgoing wire that we need to process? Is it an internal book-to-book transfer or some other instruction? And once it does that, there are a set of mandatory fields, that need to be extracted, from where, from and to account, the amount, the date, the beneficiary information details, and it extracts that information, populates in the system, and now the processor, all they have to do is actually look at the source document, look at the extracted information, and be able to verify it. So contrasting it to how it was done before, just think of the first part of the work in terms of keying in that information, that is fully automated. Only the verification piece remains. And by being able to do that, we managed to actually reduce the time it takes to process such transactions by 80%. So it is a win for the client because these things can get processed much faster. It is a win for our employees. They can focus on more value-add activities than actually keying in client instructions day in and day out. And it also reduces the cost of doing this service as well. So it is that's what we mean by a tangible application of machine learning to automate high volume activities. And you can find dozens and dozens of similar examples in this space. Another segment where you can unlock significant value with AI is predictive analytics. And let me give you one example. As you may know, we're the sole clearing entity for US Treasuries, and this amounts to trillions of dollars a day. And a very small percentage of these transactions, fail to settle. So even if it is 1 or 2%, we're talking billions of dollars a day. So it is a significant, challenge. So the problem statement, our teams actually dealt with here was, can we look at the signals and be able to identify, the likelihood of a particular transaction failing to settle and provide that signal earlier in the day so we can take mitigation action. And that's exactly, what the team has done. And this, this capability, being able to signal, hours earlier, so you have actually ample time to take action and really reduce the chance of actually settlement failure. It is of significant value for our clients. We're currently in the process of implementing it, and we have a few beta clients working on it as we speak. And so it is a win for the client, avoiding that. It is a win for us in terms of not having having less failed trades. And truly, it's a win for the industry. It's an industry problem that we're actually solving with this capability. As I mentioned earlier, the third area that you can you can harness the power of AI to drive value is in risk management. Probably the most common one that comes to mind is fraud detection, which is widely deployed in financial services. Using similar techniques, we've also applied machine learning to be able to look at a pattern or behavior of a client And when we see something unusual, being able to flag it and say, is this really what was intended? So it's giving us an opportunity to verify something before it becomes a problem, or before we process an error, an error, and actually unwinding it, and the client incurring costs for that. So and this is difficult to really codify without using machine learning, because every client has a different behavior, every client has a different pattern, and what machine learning allows you to do is actually really map out those patterns and give you a signal when something unusual is there, so you can take action. So that's what we mean in terms of insights, both in predicting something, so you can you can take an action like we talked about earlier to mitigate a settlement failure, or identifying something to actually investigate it and catch a problem before it turns out to be a bigger issue. So I promise to touch on key consideration for successful implementation, and here's a few reflections based on our experience. One, have clarity on how you measure success. You really want to identify what metrics are you going to use. For instance, if it is a predictive analytics, what actions will you take if you predict something? How will you operationalize it? And really having that clarity before you just jump in and start working on the problem really helps you actually structure it right, and make the final outcome really that much powerful as well. So need to invest in having that what success looks like early in the process, and having that clarity ahead of time. Invest in life after.
Hey everyone, we're going to be welcoming back Al Bunshaft now. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I want to thank the speakers for joining me now live to answer your questions. Those were outstanding talks that demonstrated, I believe, the really diverse areas that AI is being used in and will be applied in the future. And we have a lot of great questions from you that we want to ask the panelists. You may have noticed that the panelists are joining us from around the world: Morocco, France, New York, California. The work that LIU is leading will have massive local impact, but it's also inherently international, very similar to the work of our company, sorry. And so I think you should think about that, the fact that these skills are incredibly powerful and important, but will also apply to such a wide area. So let's go and welcome the panelists with me, and let's talk about some of the questions that you've asked us through the Q&A box. And by the way, please feel free to post your questions there in the Q&A area of your screen. The first question I want to answer was actually directed at me, and then I'm going to toss the rest of the questions at our panelists, because I'm here to ask them questions. But someone asked me to elaborate a little on the adoption of our software at LIU, and what does it mean, and what are the benefits for learners. If you recall, when I commented earlier about my own background, I talked about the fact that I went to graduate school upstate and was in an NSF center. That's the first time in my experience in my 20s that 22, 23 years old, I got to really understand this intersection between what we're learning and how it's being used in the real world. And I think LIU's program brings that right to you as an undergraduate, the intersection of education, research, and industry, and that's incredibly powerful. I mentioned the Living Heart Project. That's being used by doctors today at Boston Children's Hospital to plan surgeries that are saving lives. We talked about, it was mentioned by Dr. Elawad, the metadata solution that's part of the Dassault system portfolio. 60% of the COVID-19 vaccine trials around the world are, the data is being collected and analyzed on the Dassault system platform. We didn't talk about augmented reality and virtual reality, but you saw it in those videos used as an important technology through a range of fields. You may not know that consumer products companies use that technology to research how we shop because they have multi-billion-dollar product lines that they want to try to optimize where they're placed in the store and get us to buy more. So it's an incredible opportunity that you have as a student here to join at LIU and graduate with what today is a rare skill and a rare expertise. And all of us here and many more hundreds of leaders around the world want to hire you when you graduate with these skills. So this is the beginning of something really significant at LIU. Let me turn now to our panelists, who I thank again for the incredible presentations that you made. And let me start with Reza, a colleague of mine, Dr. Sadeghi. During the COVID crisis pandemic we've had for over a year now around the world, the drug companies have come up very quickly, actually, with vaccines. And we all know how our economies are dependent upon the success of these vaccines. How is AI helping, Reza, in the development of these vaccines? Can you comment?
I can. And the discovery happened really fast. We all watched the news and we learned that in the course of 3 months, 4 months, the discovery was managed. Vaccines tend to be a bit different than classical drugs. The transcription that took place used AI and will continue to use AI for the boosters that are being designed as we speak. We were involved, the organization that I'm a part of, BioVia, was involved both on the discovery side as well as the development side into manufacturing. And in all phases, we do use machine learning and AI to accelerate the process, similar to the concepts that I mentioned. Without getting into the details of what Moderna did or Pfizer did, we did leverage AI in all aspects of the design phase and the discovery phase.
Yeah, so we're talking about it as it's in the future, but it's changing our world even today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. That's great. Let me turn to Dr. Elawad, who talked about the University for a New Africa, a really exciting concept that I think most people here never heard of. You talked about this connection between education and training for low and middle income countries. Can you talk more about this connection, how your new school will support these countries and the role of AI in education?
Yeah, we have been, thank you first for this question that gave me the opportunity to talk about and to present our university. You are probably aware of the Africa challenges when it comes to education and health. It's not a surprise, it's not a secret. And African countries are really struggling to fill the gap of this resource shortage when it comes to health, especially. So what we are envisioning with through our university is to contribute to fill this gap through the digital platform, offering several programs. It could cover, the digital health program, the bioinformatics bachelor, the One Health master, and there are many others that are coming, adapting these programs to the Dassault system platform, providing with not only e-learning experience by the real digital education, it's also an opportunity or an occasion for African students that couldn't afford to pay for high quality education to follow, to be enrolled in such program. So we are going to reach out through advertising company that has been already hired and working hardly with several connections in African country to enroll students and to have them, benefiting from this platform. The idea and the ambition of this university is to cover almost 10,000 students in 10 years, half in digital, through digital, and half on site. And we are really committed to contribute to fill this gap in Africa, and hoping that other African countries will join. There is no way for Africa to fill this gap when it comes to health workers and health professionals, knowing the brain drain and how European and other countries are encouraging health professionals that have been trained in Africa to migrate. So not only we are going to work on the education part, but also, and I show it in my slides, saying other condition of success is creating job opportunities, encouraging and strengthening research to keep these health professionals and engineers and those that will be educated to fill this gap in Africa.
If I may, I'll add to Dr. Raja. LIU is proud of its collaboration with Dr. Raja and the new university. And I would like to simply reflect on what Dr. Bird said at the beginning. LIU is going through a digital transformation, bringing industry, bringing academia and research together. We work with all the panelists to really provide a unique, distinctive experience for our students in the BS AI, the MS AI, connecting all these diverse backgrounds in the health professions, business, to give our students a unique experiential education that will allow them to create competitive advantage in this new age. So I just want to highlight the connections. We work with Dr. Riza, for example, on research and pharmacy and what's happening in the industry. And those presentations is really impacting the course development at LIU and the experiences that we extend to our students. One item I would like to bring up, and then I will give it back to Al, is that Emmanuel, for example, talked about FAAR industry. That's like a unique experience for us to be able to merge the technical and the MBA experience, an optimized version of MBA AI. So thanks to our panelists, and Al, please continue the discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Griga. That is Dr. Mohammed Griga, who leads the computer science program at LIU. Thank you for those comments. The next question I'd like to ask, someone gave us a question about the finance industry and compliance in the finance industry. As we all know, finance industry touches our lives in many ways. Some we see, some we don't, but it has a massive impact on us all. There was a lot of discussion here about data collection and training of algorithms. In the finance industry, of course, you're worried about fraud, potential fraud. How does AI factor in your industry, and how does it help you manage compliance and help keep your business safe and our finances safe?
Yeah.
Would you comment, Michael? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be happy to take that. I think it's a great question. When we think of, first of all, yes, there's no denying that AI is data hungry, right? So the more data you have, the more reliable data you have, the better solutions, that you can actually, have, and the more accurate, solutions that you can have. That said, we don't see, compliance and this practice actually and conflict, but more actually, compliance is, puts the right guardrails in how you implement AI. So maybe touching on it from a couple of different angles. I think one, ethical use of AI is really important, and that actually goes from having the right data that actually doesn't have biases built in, right? To make sure the conclusions that, the predictions that you're making are not really influenced by, biases that you're not aware of. It includes, selecting the right algorithms. I mean, so you can actually, you have attribution that you can go to in terms of for any decision that you're making, the explainability factor is there. And also having a diverse set of practitioners. So, we're not, we're watching out for each other's, blind spots and how we do these things. And ensuring that solutions are applied, for problems that they're intended to, right? So all those things are important from a compliance perspective, that we take these very, very powerful applications and do them properly, right? So we see it as a necessary guardrail in how we implement AI. So that's one angle. And then I think the other part of it is, Al, you touched on it, saying actually the capability itself can help, manage risk. And, we touched on fraud, we touched on, really even catching errors that people maybe, would not have been able to pick otherwise. So it's very interlinked in terms of, ensuring how it is done properly, but also giving you more powers to, to manage risk as well.
Excellent. Excuse me. Thank you very much. That's great. I want to shift next. We've talked a lot to the students here, and we're telling them about this new program and helping them, I hope, anticipate, the world that they're going to enter into. Emmanuel, you talked a lot about your company's focus on enabling your employees to focus on the higher value work in your organization. And you talked about automating things at work. We've got a couple questions here that I think are related to that, and I ask you to discuss this. People are asking us, how are the requirements of traditional jobs changing? And can AI replace us in those jobs? So can you comment on that? And then what advice would you have to students, either current or future students, in terms of how they can possibly be the most competitive and most successful in their careers? What's happening in the world of work, Emmanuel? Can you speak to us about that?
Yes, of course. First of all, don't be frightened. AI will not replace you. That's the first message. To be honest, AI is not new in the courses of a training session. So it studied since years and years today. And the only difference that we see today is that we are collecting much more information, reliable information, as people already said today. And then this is why there is a lot of available information, massive information available, and so you can play with this data much more than before, and that's why it becomes more and more important to know as a tool what is the power of AI and deep learning. Just like you have learned how to use a computer, you have learned how to program, and it's a new, how can I say, new tool for human to be more effective and to be more efficient in your work. That's all.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that question. Here's an interesting question that I'd like to ask any of you to comment on. Someone, obviously a student, is saying to us here, I have a passion for medicine, but I'm not inclined to go to med school. Can AI help me pursue my passion and make an impact in the world? Do only doctors help save people's lives and change the world of healthcare? Does someone like to comment on that? Yes, Dr. Elawad?
I will be pleased. I will be pleased. I have seen this question, and I was asking myself, if I haven't been a medical doctor, I haven't been enrolled earlier in that, would it be possible with all what I have went through in my presentation, be a way for me to contribute? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. I can share with you just one one thing that is in the heart of our future university. We are going to work, for example, on the sentinel surveillance for pandemic diseases. What does it mean? Using artificial intelligence, we are going to anticipate on the emergence of the coming viruses and use also artificial intelligence to develop the appropriate test diagnosis, the appropriate treatment, drugs, vaccine, and also deploy all that on the field. So there is no doubt that, you know, embarking in artificial intelligence, it could be in digital health, it could be in drug discovery, it could be on data analysis. There is so many ways to contribute to improve the health outcome of the population without being a doctor. And the area are, you know, just exploding by these years. So I will encourage you, and if myself, I haven't been a doctor earlier, I will have embarked in probably shorter, you know, studies for sure.
I have to second that, Al. This is Reza. I work with medtech companies day in and day out, and I do have a foot at the university as well. The number of PhDs coming into the workforce to be part of making the planet Earth a better place and people living a better life is, as you said, dramatically increasing. And the number of PhDs coming in to bring science and engineering to save lives. Medicine is great. I personally took medical courses, never did residency, and I stayed with my PhD program. But truly, there is a lot of room for engineers and scientists to come in and help make this world a better place and life a better experience, because we do need science. And while there's plenty of science in medicine, there's plenty more science outside of medicine that needs to be understood and applied, whether it's data science or biologic science or other types of sciences that's needed for us to arrive at new ways of looking at how to make life a better experience and bring what we call functional medicine to play. Functional medicine is not a medicine you go get from your doctor. As a matter of fact, you will probably buy it from your grocery stores. And that field requires engineers and scientists to really understand the human body and then apply engineering to it and do everything else that needs to be done around it.
I'm a computer scientist, and then I got an engineering degree. And I'll just say that I'm a big fan of what I call portable skills. And there's no field that's more important and affecting everything we do than computer science. These digital technologies are infiltrating everything in our lives. So you want to make an impact in the world of healthcare, you want to start in clinical areas, you want to be able to move to drug development, you want to be able to contribute to devices and machinery in the future, build up your digital portfolio, and you can literally go almost anywhere you want to. The sky's the limit. I want to go back. Yes, go ahead, Dr. Griga.
What I would like to say is that the question actually is very relevant, and it applies to almost any other field, whether it's arts, psychology, whether it's business. And I just want to really highlight the fact that in our programs, computer science is not really a prerequisite to be able to take advantage of these technologies. So we value the diversity of skills that people will bring. If you have interest in medicine, welcome. If you have interest in psychology, that's the same thing. So it's open to all audiences, and we value the diversity of backgrounds that students and professionals bring. And I think then you add the AI component, and every one of us have actually a mission on how you're going to make an impact in your organization, in your communities, or even larger scale impact. So that's really the value of AI, and the way at LIU we're pursuing AI to be a transformational force, basically, for all disciplines, for all student experiences, and every background is welcome. Thank you.
Dr. Griega, that's a great comment. And, I'm pounding my chest about computer science because that's who I am. But you're right. What you're doing so uniquely there is embedding this into the curriculums that you have. And that's what will be so unique, I think, about LIU, that these technologies will be part of the pharmaceutical degree or the veterinary program, et cetera. Let me ask you, while I have you on the screen here, can you continue to comment about someone asked the question, what resources will LIU make available for students and instructors for this new world of learning? Can you just comment on that? And then we're coming near the end and people have been so kind to give us their Saturday afternoon, so we'll wrap up very shortly.
Well, I'm excited to report that, at LIU, we're investing heavily in the infrastructure and digital infrastructure to support LIU transformation. One of them is the immersive learning centers at LIU Post and LIU Brooklyn. So technically, you have these newly high-tech centers where you can use Google's, you interact with the subject of study, you go from the traditional PowerPoint presentations that you have been used to in many schools to actually an AR, VR experiences where you will interact with your subject of study rather than be passive out there. So we're investing heavily in technology. We're investing heavily in the training through L as well. So that's like a big component for us to be able to have faculty that are experts in their fields, but yet they have the technology to be able to create a project-based environment for students. We want our students to be able to say, I'm not just solving a toy project that I'm going to throw away, but you're actually participating, you're part of the solution, you're part of the problem solving where you're addressing real world questions, real world challenges, and making an impact through the collaboration with your faculty, collaboration with other students, collaboration with the industry as well. The other part of the transformation on how we're providing resources for students is to create basically this one platform that connects all parts of the university, whether you're in health sciences, the school of the vet school, whether it's the business school, whether it's computer science. We have one basically holistic view of what the strengths of the university, and AI is connecting that, creating integration rather than having a siloed experiences at the university. I would say that, like through the innovation and the new pedagogy that we're bringing in these programs, we are basically pioneers in this kind of transformation, what education should be, what the lab experiences for students should be, what impact students can do through their project-based learning in the classroom, and create an ecosystem basically of can-do attitude and be part of, like solving the most difficult questions that we face. And Reza, Michael, and Emmanuel, and Dr. Raja talked about many things and what they're doing. And LIU is playing a central role basically in connecting those novel ideas to and bringing those experiences to the classroom. We're grateful for the contributions of many and their time as well. And we're excited about the future. And I hope you could join us for further discussions on this and learning more about our programs and resources.
Great, thank you very much. So I want to tell everyone that there's a link in your chat where you can join us in a Zoom session following this to have more discussion if you're interested. There's also a comment to high school representatives here in the chat. If you want more information, it tells you where to follow up. I hope you've seen through this webinar that LIU is taking the lead in a massive collaboration, a global collaboration that will impact New York and the region and also the world. They have distinctive and are launching new immersive programs, really first of a kind in many cases, that will leverage the diversity of the students that LIU serves and give them incredible skills in business, healthcare, taking advantage of AI to create impact. It's the opportunity for you to get involved at the beginning of a leading edge program and gain powerful skills, really, to launch your career. This is going to transform LIU. It's going to have regional impact, but also global impact. And thank you for joining us today. I want to thank the panelists and the speakers for joining us today. It's a beautiful Saturday in the New York area. So those of you that have given us your time, we're very gracious for that. And we hope many of you will come join LIU in creating the future. So thank you again for joining us. This will conclude the webinar.
Yeah.